Wine and coffee.
Anybody want a copy?
I'll take one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Sure, thank you. Stealing all the things.
We all good?
Yeah.
This is Natasha. She's 22, lives in an urban environment. She's a lot like you and me. She has a lot of dreams and aspirations. Her hobby actually is fashion. She really enjoys to keep up with the trends, follow what celebrities are doing, new brands, lines, etc. And she would love to shop. That sounds like something she would love to be able to do. But Natasha is a size 26, and for anyone over a size 14, the fashion industry denies them access. Picture this. Natasha is going summer shopping. She walks into your typical brick and mortar store, and she sees loads of cute clothes, everything that's all up with the fashion trends that she looks up all the time. She realizes that it's not really in her size, most of the options, so she asks the sales associate where she can find something in her size. The sales associate points over to a corner of the store, the plus size section. She walks over there feeling a little bit embarrassed. Immediately, right off the bat, she notices that her options are severely limited. Not only has she been relegated to a corner of the store, none of her options are particularly fashionable. So she decides to make do with what she has and picks out a few pieces to bring into the changing room. She tries a few of them on and notices that none of them fit well. They get over her body, but none of them seem to flatter her unique curves or accentuate the particular aspects of her unique body type. So she asks the sales associate for piece after piece after piece in different sizes. It's been over 10 minutes now, and she's beginning to feel way too embarrassed for this to go on. So she decides that now she's spent so much time here, she might as well just buy something. So she picks the top 2 pieces she has. She goes over to the cash register and notices that in her size, the clothing is significantly more expensive than in smaller sizes. What the heck, she thinks? This is a complete and total ripoff. She walks with her clothing out of the store, feeling embarrassed, dejected, and her money exploited. Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha's story is not an anomaly. We have quotes from other women in their stories. It's the story of millions of women who wear a size 14 and up in America. Tim Gunn, renowned fashion designer, wrote in an op-ed in the Washington Post that if you're a plus-size female, your shopping experience is disrespectful and demoralizing. But there's hope. Today, my team and I would like to introduce to you a new Macy's private brand. Macy's New York Reflection. An all-inclusive brand that would functionally eliminate all of the Natasha's problems. A brand that for all sizes would offer affordable, fashionable, and flattering clothing. Hi, my name is Slade, and this is the rest of my team. Anthony Biancalana, Jesse Brownfield, Jeremy Gonzalez, and Michelle Cage. And this is New York Reflection.
So, you're all probably wondering the same thing. Why the plus-size industry? Well, the reality is that the plus-size industry is in dire need of an upgrade. You You see, the average American woman wears a size 16, which is considered to be a plus size. And yet, they are treated like an anomaly by retailers who seem to assume that no one over size 10 follows fashion trends, and that they should just accept the boring clothing that comes in their size and move on with their lives, as if they are in the wrong for being born with a naturally bigger build. Now, there are a lot of complaints about the plus-size fashion that is included in brick-and-mortar stores. Their options are very limited compared to the smaller size selection, and these options are a lot less trendy and fashionable. As a woman, I know that having fashionable options available to me is very important. So I can't even imagine how it would feel to have little to no options available. That would be extremely frustrating. Another thing is that usually the plus size selection is just tossed in the back of the store, and sometimes even added in with the maternity selection. So this kind of explains why curvier women feel more embarrassed, unwelcome, and out of place when shopping in these stores. Now behind me is a word cloud with words from an article by Michelle Prasad from the Huffington Post, and these words were used by curvy women to describe how they feel about plus size fashion and how they feel about shopping for plus size clothing. As you can see, these words are very negative. Words such as frustrating, ignored, boring, and the one that stuck out to me the most was demoralizing. This word is very powerful, and no one should feel this way when shopping. It should be something that's fun to do. So it seems like the plus-size women are presented with quite the dilemma here. They have three options for their clothing: cute, affordable, or something that actually fits them. But they can't have all of these at once. The reality for them is that they can only have two of these selections in one article of clothing. It's very rare that they come across all three of these aspects in one brand. So what we would like to do is take all three of these aspects and combine them into one brand that is the New York Reflection. Now behind me is a sizing chart that we would like to use in our store in Macy's and with our brand. Now when a curvier women look at this sizing chart, it makes them feel more positive, and it'll help them to stop feeling, or it helps them to stop feeling so embarrassed when shopping and help them feel more empowered.
There's never been a better time to enter the plus-size market than now. According to Shelby Banjo of the Bloomberg News, in an article published March 10, 2016, it was reported that the plus-size market was worth $17.4 billion in 2013. In 3 short years, this market grew 17%, and today is currently worth $20.4 billion. That is 17% in 3 years. When you compare this to the overall apparel market, which only grew 7% during this time frame, you can tell this is a perfect opportunity for Macy's to enter the plus-size market. A few more facts highlighting the opportunities in the plus-size market include 65% of women in America wear plus size, and the number of women who wear plus size 16 is greater than the number of women who wear 0, 2, and 4 combined. Now, our brand is targeted towards the female millennial, aged 18 to 32, who was looking for trendy and fashionable clothes. We focus on casual wear, which includes jeans, pants, blouses, sweaters, and also undergarments. Now I'd like to show you a few pictures of women highlighting what we'd like to offer in the New York Reflection collection. As I go through these, please notice the different sizes and shapes of these women. As you can tell, their sizes and shapes vary, and this is one of the main concerns for plus-size women, is that their shapes vary more than the smaller sizes. To combat this issue, New York Reflection offers sizes 0X through 5X, which also known as 14 through 32. So all women will be able to shop in Macy's for New York Reflection. Now, you might be wondering why we focused on New York. For a few reasons. New York is the fashion capital of the United States. By highlighting this fact, we offer women fashionable articles of clothing that other brands sometimes do not offer or are hard to find, and they're caused and forced to go online. Second, New York fashion can be worn across the United States. So we're not proposing one or two stores of Macy's. Our brand isn't located to one section of the United States. We're offering a brand that can be opened in every Macy's store. So all women, no matter her size and shape, regardless of what she is looking to buy, she can buy not one, but multiple articles of clothing in Macy's because of New York Reflection.
So prior to implementing or adopting a new clothing brand, it's important to differentiate what New York Reflection would bring to the table that Macy's does not currently have. To answer this, I'd like to bring up 3 words: selection, style, and size. Now, what do I mean when I say selection? Macy's plus-size selection currently, right now, is spread across 7 different brands, where with the implementation of New York Reflection, we would be able to have one brand that is specified, emphasized on plus-size women's clothing. It would be stylish, it would be appealing, and it would be affordable. Next, size. Macy's plus-size selection currently only goes up to size 3X. With the implementation of New York Reflection, we would have clothing that goes up to size 5X. That differentiation will fill a gap that is desperately needed to be filled. And last, I have a story. Does anybody recall this image? Exactly. It's from Dove's self-esteem project, and it was wildly successful. The idea of self-love, positive body image, and celebration of one's own unique values and traits and characteristics is something that Macy's can get behind and effectively make a movement. Think of the social media aspects of this, the opportunities. Now, New York Reflection, we came up with a few different hashtags, just some examples. If you can take the social media presence that a movement such as women's empowerment and the market share that Macy's currently controls, you have a wonderful opportunity to take hold of a ripe market. The next thing I'd like to talk about is Macy's advantages. According to Melissa Sturger from Women's Wear Daily, I read an article and she cited a poll that said 60% of women, plus-size women, prefer to shop online because they like to avoid the embarrassing fitting room failure. From that same poll, an additional 67% of women had said that if they were confident they could find something in their size, they would prefer to shop in a venue where all sizes were sold. Macy's is at a wonderful advantage. Not only is it a department store, but the aforementioned information furthers Macy's only at Macy's strategy. It would be specified, it would be specific, and it would be unique. The last thing we want to talk about is our avenues to approach. This is what we had identified as New York Reflection's very own omni-channel, how we are going to reach the customer. We broke it down into 3 categorical avenues that would include online, in-store, as well as mobile avenues. We believe that with effective and proper in-store promotions, as well as effective online campaigns, and lastly, using the mobile market share that Macy's currently have, we would absolutely be able to identify millennial women and get them in the store to buy Macy's clothes. The last thing that we would like to talk about in our our marketing approach, is New York Fashion Week. Macy's currently has a large stake in that, and we believe that, considering the name of our product, it would be the perfect venue to roll out stylish, plus-size women's clothing.
When implementing a brand, one of the most important factors that we have to look at is its profitability. So the first number that I have for you is $20.1 billion. This number is the amount of money that is left on the table in the plus-size millennial and Generation Z clothing market. This number represents the gap between the actual amount of plus-size clothing sales and the amount that could be made if the demand for this market was met. Now, in an article in Glamour Fashion, writer Lauren Chan on March 7th of 2017 wrote that in plus-size clothing sales only accounted for 16% of all apparel sales. Match that with the 67% of the female population who would wear plus-size clothing, you can clearly see that there's a gap here that needs to be filled. The gap between the demand for this market and the lack of supply clearly presents an opportunity for Macy's. So I arrived at this number using research data from IBISWorld and the US Census, and this number actually is one of the reasons that we decided to make this brand, because we saw that there was a grand opportunity to fill this gap and create this millennial and Generation Z bond with a customer base. It's an opportunity that we just couldn't pass on. So now going into a little bit of the sales aspect, we project in the first year a 2% market share among the plus-size clothing industry. We get this number from looking at IBISWorld and seeing that smaller stores like Hot Topic, for example, has a 2.4% market share in the plus-size clothing industry. Macy's is a little bit bigger than them. Combine that with the fact that Macy's has around, according to IBISWorld, a 9% market share on the clothing industry, this number actually might be a little conservative. But taking this 2% market share, we project a 10% profit margin in our first year of implementation. That yields approximately a $13.7 million profit margin. Now, this number does not include startup costs of this brand, so in the first year, this number actually might be a little lower, but if we're able to reach our goal of 9% market share, we're able to reach 33% profit margin, which is $203.3 million. Now on a little bit of the supply chain aspect. Our first year of implementation will go as such. The first thing that needs to be done is obviously the board approval of Macy's. Nothing can be done without Macy's executives approving the New York Reflection brand. So after a month of that, we can move into the design process. The Macy's full fashion force, consisting of the color, fabric, technical design team, research and development, will all combine to make a design based on the trends, based on the fashion shows that they see, and come up with the best plus-size brand and design for that brand. Then, after 3 months of that, the manufacturing will occur. The Macy's product team will be charged with partnering with a vendor that provides the highest quality and the best value of plus-size clothing. So 2 months of that, and then the Macy's will bring in a group of private customers that will comment on the clothes' originality, their style, and most importantly, their ability to be sold in the market. After this is passed and after the clothes are approved, they're able to be shipped to stores using Macy's already current distribution channels, so there's nothing new there. While this is going on, branding and marketing will skyrocket. As Jesse had previously outlined, we want to create a pre-hype of this brand so that by the time it hits stores, people will already be familiar with it somewhat. And now, at that point when it hits stores, we'll be in January of 2018. This is exactly 1 month from New York Fashion Week. And we figured by launching it about a month early, it'll generate a little bit of popularity that will push it into New York Fashion Week. By the time it hits New York Fashion Week, people will know what it is, it will gain increased exposure, and finally it'll be pushed to the point where it can meet those first year sales projections.
In conclusion, we know that New York Reflection is the best new private brand for Macy's to implement. This is a market that's growing at a rapid rate, 17% growth in 3 years. And we're standing before you today with a $20 billion industry. And this is a market that's riddled with problems, and that for most retailers contains a consumer that's particularly elusive. But New York Reflection is our response, it's our formula, and it has been carefully crafted by us over the past few weeks to answer each and every one of these problems individually to help you capitalize on this new market. This brand and its marketing would spread like wildfire on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, pushing millennials from their online, on their computers, in-store traffic. And they're not just buying New York Reflection when they're in the store. They're buying all of Macy's accessories, all of Macy's cosmetics as well. This brand would allow plus-size women to have the in-store experience that they deserve, to experience the magic of Macy's. We've crunched the numbers. We project that you'll be in the black, most likely on year 1 of implementing this brand. But it's not just about profit margins. This brand independently is a good reason, or is effective to implement. The social values of body positivity and self-acceptance that this brand embraces are not only consistent with your corporate values, but would be an immensely effective PR campaign for Macy's itself. So, when you sign with New York Reflection today, we know that come February 2018, on New York Fashion Week, that Natasha could be looking at a whole new in-store experience, an experience offered only at Macy's. Thank you, and we're ready for any questions you have.
I'll kick this one off. All right, so I didn't hear anything about the people in the marketplace right now that do this well. So who are the players that do plus-size clothing well, or does anybody, or did your comments reflect the whole market, that they're just always miserable?
Brick and mortar stores, is anyone doing this well? Not really.
Not even Lane Bryant.
Well, Lane Bryant is doing particularly better on online. I think that they're like 70-30 in comparison to online v in-store. But Lane Bryant doesn't really have a big brick and mortar presence. The only other company that is beginning to do this well is JCPenney. They released a boutique plus line sometime last year and have been doing incredibly well with it. The delineation between something like the boutique plus line and something like this would be, for example, I don't know who's running their marketing department, but plus size women hate, right, when you say boutique plus, or when Forever 21 did Forever 21 plus, they don't, that's, goes to the point that we were making earlier about the kind of otherizing section for them. So this would be, in that way, we'd market a little bit more differently, but there are definitely some big players. But most of those players are doing very well exclusively online.
Gotcha. With the, I was kind of intrigued by the shapes that you put up there, the sizing shapes. Are you going to utilize that in store? Are you going to put, like, if you're this shape of plus size woman, would it be on the tag or on the clothing or somewhere? Would there be a differentiation in the store with those different shapes? I thought that was a unique concept.
Yeah, so we would have that sizing chart implemented in the stores. There would be pictures in the dressing rooms and just pictures all over the New York Reflection area. So under each body image, they would see what kinds of options they have that would look best on their certain body type. Because different cut shirts look better on different physiques. It's not one thing looks best on everyone. So that helps them to differentiate which would look best on their certain body type.
So it's in the department, but like, say I'm a rectangle. Is there a rectangle somewhere on the tag of the clothing saying, like, if you're a rectangle, this is what you're supposed to wear? Okay.
Yes, sir. Just as whenever you go jean shopping, there's skinny fit, there's boot cut, there's bell bottom, what have you. Just as there is vernacular for those different types of shapes, we would have vernacular for the shapes of which our clothing are in.
And it would be identifiable on the clothing
Yes,
itself.
sir.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of going along with like the pear, apple, whatever, hourglass, like,
Yes.
model we already sort of go off with.
That's all I had.
Oh, okay.
Is this geared more towards casual?
Yes.
Okay, like career, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you said the sizing, like currently, like our casual would be Style & Co. We have, Macy's Woman Style & Co., but it only goes up to 3X. You're saying you would expand to 5X?
Yes, sir.
Right. Not to mention that some of the I know Style & Co. is a very successful private brand, but in terms of making a particular kind of sizing chart and designing different clothes for different particular body types, that's another way that we would delineate ourselves. We chose casual in particular because the plus-size women buy casual wear such as shirts, jeans, blouses, etc. at a much higher rate than they do more expensive items, dresses, suits, etc.
And then marketing, you said, how would you market this to that age group? and size? Strictly social media, or?
Yes, sir. Oh, well, no, there's many avenues in which we would market. A lot of it, as I said, would fall under in-store, online, or mobile venues. I think through the mobile venue, social media would be a large portion of that following, but there's also, of course, you know, online catalogs and ads and in-store promotions, various campaigns that would add to the popularity of this line.
Okay. Well, you know, I think I love the name, and being working in stores, store manager, I get comments all the time and/or cornered at the store that we don't. The merchandise is old lady-ish. It's not geared. We can't find anything fashionable. It's the same stuff year after year after year. Just long sleeve, short sleeve, you know, but the same thing. So, you know, I'm always looking for something new. I think that's a great idea. So, job well done.
Thank you.
And I think that I was really impressed. You both asked the major questions that I had. You touched on something that I think is super important, and I love hearing people say it, is that Macy's is about the relationship, and I think the most successful brands are about that relationship and creating and maintaining it. You chose the Dove example, which is one that our new chief marketing officer, we talked earlier about brands that he admires and is trying to model our, you know, new approach after, and Dove was also another, or Dove, he mentioned Nike and he mentioned Dove, and it's specifically the campaign that you all spoke to, so I think this fits in that vision very nicely. But I do have a question. Did you at all look through kind of our assortment to see, is there something, what do our, I'm not sure, I don't know, like what our offerings look like? Did you notice, like with Macy's, did we even kind of have anything like this on our website already, or?
So Macy's has a selection, and it's not the worst, but we are. I mean, if that's what you're asking, I mean, there. Another store that wasn't mentioned earlier was called Eloquy, and they do a great job of kind of staying away from the floral print that is so common in plus size clothing. Whereas I saw a good amount of floral print in plus size clothing with Macy's selection, but yeah, there are definitely there's definitely room for improvement. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, which is why you would have built this case.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's great. I sat in on another conversation one of our merchants had. They said that the standard had previously been, you know, we had a buying planning team that would just buy, you know, this product, and then we would size it up. You know, and that was how they handled plus sizing. I think Macy's has slowly internally been shifting towards, and you could probably speak to this as well, we do have a plus size team that we've tried to be more strategic, because obviously, like, she wants a totally different fit, maybe more ruching, maybe more whatever. So I think that this is something that we're trying to head towards. It would be really interesting to have a private brand, for sure. It's a plus size.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the reception room is 3016.